Since 2018, Ajin and Fatu have been the only northern white rhinos left in the world. Southern white rhinos as well as black rhinos are prime prey for poachers. On the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List of Threatened Species, southern white rhinos are listed as near threatened, while black rhinos are critically endangered. However, a new report released by the IUCN suggests that rhino poaching rates have been on the decline since 2018. Here's the report.
Since 2018, Najin and Fatu have been the only northern white rhinos left in the world. Northern white rhinos, as well as black rhinos, are prime prey for poachers on the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List of Threatened Species. Southern white rhinos are listed as near threatened, while black rhinos are critically endangered. However, a new report released by the IUCN suggests that rhino poaching rates have been on the decline since 2018. The good news first. There is a decline in the number of rhinos being killed. The bad news, yet the illegal trade remains an acute threat to the survival of these iconic animals. The dramatic reduction of the white rhino species has been due to decades of rampant poaching. Their horns have long been used as carving material and prized in traditional Chinese medicine for their supposed healing properties. At least 2,707 rhinos were poached across Africa between 2018 and 2021. However, efforts have long been in place to ensure their survival. These efforts now seem to be paying off. Poaching rates in Africa have continued to decline, from a peak of 5.3% in 2018 to 2.3% in 2021.
Historically, for instance, East Africa, particularly places like Kenya and Tanzania, suffered from appalling poaching, figures, but they, and in Kenya in particular, has managed to turn that around very, very significantly with a concerted investment from government as well as NGOs like ourselves, and really putting a lot of money and effort into building up the anti-poaching teams and training them and equipping them, and so on and so forth. Whereas South Africa, historically, whilst East Africa was suffering from this sort of poaching crisis, South Africa was, didn't have any poaching. In fact, they would often say, "Oh, that would never happen down here," and I think that in some respects, there was a complacency in South Africa in the 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and they are now paying the price for that.
Efforts to conserve rhinos have included IVF treatments and more drastic steps such as dehorning so that they're less attractive to poachers. The COVID pandemic is also one of the reasons for the drop in poaching. With lockdowns and restrictions imposed on several African countries, poaching rates fell dramatically compared to previous years. However, activists are not convinced that the South African government is really tackling the problem.
Corruption in South Africa, particularly under the previous government, was rife, so that certainly, aided the rapid rise in rhino poaching that we saw. I think at its height in something like 2015 or something like that. I can't remember the exact dates now, but where there was in one year they had over 1,100 rhino poached.
Extensive national parks are also a problem for South Africa. There are huge rhino numbers in the Kruger National Park, which shares a large land border with Mozambique, which is very difficult to patrol. That allows poaching gangs led by international criminal syndicates to flourish. However, where South Africa has fallen short, other countries have taken a more dynamic approach. India and Nepal put effective prevention measures in place, and in the past decade have seen significant reductions.
in past few years, poaching has been declined. I think Nepal only one poaching recorded, whereas in India it is about 10 in the span of last 3 to 4 years time, which is much lower compared to the earlier, the years. And this has been, possible because of the proactive steps both the Indian government and Nepal government has initiated.
Despite these efforts, rhinos are still threatened. If rhino species have to be conserved, countries like South Africa will have to find new ways of saving them.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.